Howdy guys, Carla here, and okay, here's the thing. I did finish watching Game of Thrones, the latest season. It was okay. It felt a little bit like a filler, but it did have some really cool moments and some things that really made me excited for the last season that's coming up sometime before I turn 80, hopefully. I don't know. I think they're taking their cues from George Martin by now. But here's the thing. I was going to talk about Game of Thrones this week, and then all of a sudden these news about the talks that were going on between Disney and Fox for, you know, Disney to buy Fox, these talks this week, they just started kicking up into gear. All of a sudden, I wasn't expecting it, and then just this morning it was announced that yes, Disney is indeed going to buy 20th Century Fox, including their movie production side and their TV production side. They put out a statement today, and I am just... Through this whole week, this entire news cycle has basically been making me break into hives every day. Like, every time something about it comes up on my Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, you will know, if you browse through all the political complaining tweets and stuff. There is some substance to my Twitter, I promise, but if you browse through it, you will see that I've been very, very negative about this deal, and now that I know it's going through, I'm just kind of hyperventilating a little, and I need to rant. I need to rant about this, guys. Sorry. So I'm not going to talk about Game of Thrones after all. I'm just going to talk about this deal that went through, which is kind of a seismic shift for the movie industry as it is, especially for the big studios. It's kind of amazing that this happened. But I have so many feelings, and I need to vent them out somehow. So that's what I'm going to do today. Warning, this video is not structured at all. I'm basically just word vomiting everything that I feel inside me. It's very much a rant. There's no structure to it. So be warned about that. I may be going back and forth on things because I really don't have like a structure that I'm going to follow. So keep that in mind, but I need to vent. I need to vent. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm very aware that I'm probably the only Marvel fan in the universe who does not like this deal. I do not enjoy this deal. I had been hoping that it didn't happen, and when it became pretty obvious that it was going to happen, I had been hoping that at least Disney would have the presence of mind to keep the two divisions separate, to keep the franchises separate, especially... I understand that this is an unpopular opinion. I know. I beg that you please don't just, you know, flame me forever and destroy me in the comments, because believe me, I don't say this out of any sort of hatred for Marvel, or for Disney, or for Marvel as a company, as a studio, or even for Fox for selling. I understand, okay? I know why these things happen, and I know that sometimes companies just buy other companies. It's a thing that happens. And I know that a lot of people who have concerns are more or less concerned about the antitrust issues, because if Disney absorbs Fox, then what happens to all the people at Fox who had that job, and everything under one umbrella is maybe a bit too much of a risk. I'm not necessarily in this for the antitrust deal. I do feel as a consumer it's going to harm my consumer experience, basically. I don't think this is beneficial for me as a consumer of Marvel and Fox movies, because I watch all of them. I love all of them. It's nothing against Marvel. I love Marvel. I think the MCU is one of the wonders of the modern world. It's something that I never thought could even be possible as a child who grew up reading comics, especially Marvel comics. The MCU is something that I didn't think could be done, and Marvel Studios has done it so well that I of course I'm satisfied with it. I love it. I want to see more of it. I can't wait to see more of that. I also understand the value of having things separate, because the more hats you have in the ring, the more variety you get. My position against this merger is it has nothing to do with the MCU or with the quality of the MCU. I will go watch MCU movies. Not all of them, because I don't love all the characters, but the ones that I do love, I go and support. I cannot wait for Ant-Man and the Wasp, you guys. I'm so excited for this movie. Anyway, I do feel that when we have these properties separate, we get more movies, and therefore we get more of a chance to have good movies. Here's the thing. People were initially iffy about this merger, mainly because of the ratings issue. Fox, of course, has plenty of movies under their studio that are more daring. That they have a lot of R-rated movies. They have a lot of darker, grittier stories, whatever the rating is. And of course, when it comes to superheroes, they have the X-Men and they have the Fantastic Four, and they have every property that sort of sprawls out from those two. So in the past few years, they've been making advances on making superhero movies a bit darker, a bit more adult, where you have things like Deadpool, you have things like Logan, you have things like the upcoming New Mutants. And so people were, I think rightly so, scared about what a merger with Disney would mean in terms of, will these movies still happen, and will they still happen with an R rating? Now, personally, I don't put much stock in the rating, honestly. Yes, Deadpool is most absolutely, positively, definitely an R-rated movie, and it had to be. That said, I feel like I went through all of this in the months before the Deadpool release. Like, people were wondering if it was going to be rated PG-13 or rated R. I don't think the rating makes the movie. Yes, Deadpool is better because of the R rating. It's more free to do whatever the heck it wants to do. At the same time, I still think it's entirely possible to make a Deadpool movie in a PG-13 setting. I mean, just bleep it all out. It'll make it funny. You can do that. It's not impossible. Is it my preferred thing? No, but it can be done. And as for Logan, I honestly don't really think that Logan necessarily had to be R-rated. There are ways you could have shot different scenes that would have allowed for Wolverine to still be gritty and dark, but PG-13, as it has happened with X-Men movies in the past. So I'm not necessarily worried. I don't even know that New Mutants is going to be R-rated. I have no idea. It might actually be PG-13. Who knows? So I'm not particularly concerned about the rating. Now, as of this morning, Bob Iger, the president of Disney, said in some sort of conference call somewhere that the Disney is open to maybe, possibly, perhaps, in the future making some more adult movies. A lot of people are taking this to mean that Deadpool 2 is definitely going to be R-rated, and they're definitely going to be making more Deadpool movies. Okay, take it that way if you want. It's not certain for me, like, they're still analyzing it, but either way, even if they don't, I don't think it means the death of Deadpool and Logan and New Mutants and any sort of darker franchise under the X-Men umbrella. I don't believe it is. So my concern about this merger is not about the ratings at all. It also kind of reminds me of what I went through by, like, 2008 when Disney was going to buy Marvel as a company, and also in 2012 when they were about to buy Star Wars as a company. I was kind of terrified back then mainly because I felt that Disney wasn't going to sort of respect the properties as they ought to. I was afraid that they would water down X-Men. I was afraid that they would water down Star Wars, that they would make it a lot more simplistic and, you know, for kids and etc. I did go through that phase. I have to admit it. I wasn't sure about like what to think about it. But it's been years since then, and I'm pretty sure they have proven themselves with the MCU and with the Star Wars franchise. Lucasfilm they have proven themselves to actually truly understand what makes these franchises great for the fans. So I don't feel that way with Fox at this point, really. I don't doubt Disney's capacity to make something amazing out of the properties that they're acquiring from Fox. I know that they will respect these characters that I love. I know that they will give them the best possible chance when they put them on screen. So I'm not worried about that either. The biggest reason why people want this merger to happen, and this is why I realized that I'm the only one in the entire planet who apparently opposes this. People want this to happen because they want to see their characters together on screen. Which, of course, I get it. I'm a Marvel fan. I grew up reading Marvel comics. I know that these characters cross over with each other all the time, and you might have the Hulk fighting with Wolverine, or you might have Kitty Pryde dating Peter Parker. It's a thing that happens, you know. I understand the fan desire to see that. I have it too. I have that desire too. So it's not about the crossover. And honestly, when it comes to the Fantastic Four, for example, I'm actually glad that Marvel is going to have those rights back, or some sort of right back. It seems from the Disney press release that they do get Fantastic Four. I don't know what arrangement they made to make that happen, because the Fantastic Four rights are complicated, but it seems from that press release that they will get it. So I'm actually relieved about that. I like it. I don't think Fox had a good grasp on the Fantastic Four, on the characters, on the world that they inhabit. I don't think they knew what to do with them, honestly. They've made 3 movies and all 3 of them have sucked. Although I like the first one, but it's just because it's funny. I guess. I mean, it's not terrible. It's watchable at least, but it's not the Fantastic Four. So I don't mind that. I'm actually glad that Fantastic Four is going back to Marvel, because I think they can use them pretty well, and they can use the characters either individually in their own movies, or just, you know, pick and choose. They can use Doctor Doom as a villain in a movie at some point, and he would be great, because Doctor Doom is one of the greatest villains that Marvel has ever produced. And they can use the individual characters, the Human Torch, the Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, or the Thing, in their other properties to support them. So I think that's fine. I have no problem with Fantastic Four. My issue is with X-Men, because even before being a Marvel fan, I am an X-Men fan. I think that's rare. I think more people in the fandom, as far as Marvel Comics is concerned, more people in the fandom are either fans of like Spider-Man, or they're either fans of like the Avengers. And the X-Men is one of those things that's kind of there in the background, and nobody really thinks too much about it because it's a Fox property. But I am a fan of the X-Men. The X-Men are the ones that drew me to comic books in the first place. I love those characters so much. So for me, it's yes, the comics do cross over all the time, and that's okay, but I much prefer the stories that are individual, because for me, as it stands as a fan, there's this Avengers in this pot here, and then there's the mutant universe in this pot here, and yes, they cross over. It's technically the same universe, but you can craft stories with this pot, and you can craft stories with this pot, and they don't necessarily have to cross over. They don't necessarily even have the same themes. And the Avengers are okay. I mean, some of them are okay. I don't really read Avengers. I don't buy Avengers comics. I never did. I like X-Men comics. So if I can go through my entire life without necessitating a crossover between them, and when it happens, it's fine, and I can sort of get it from the context, I guess. But I don't buy Avengers comics. I don't like the Avengers in general. I like some Avengers. I like Hawkeye. I like Ant-Man. That sort of stuff. But I don't buy their comics. I'm much more of a mutant fan. I'm much more of an X-Men fan. I will buy anything if it has a mutant in it. That's my thing. That's what I love. So for me, it's a very strange position right now, because I want my X-Men universe to be what it is. And yes, of course, Fox hasn't got the best track record, honestly, and they've had a few misses. Everybody knows about, X-Men The Last Stand, and the less we can possibly say about, say, the Wolverine Origins movie, and even Apocalypse got sort of a bad rep. I liked it. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people didn't think it was up to snuff with the rest of the series, but still, that's like 3 out of how many? There's been so many X-Men movies, and things were looking good now that they've shifted to these more genre-type movies like Deadpool, like Logan, like New Mutants. Things were looking up. Fox was actually getting the accolades. Look, how many lists of movies of the year has Logan made? Like, there's talk about Hugh Jackman getting an acting nomination for the Oscars. Like, I don't think it will happen, but the fact that people are still, like, we're in December right now and people are still saying, hey, Logan was one of the best movies of the year, is kind of mind-blowing. That this is not a thing that happens, you guys. Usually this doesn't happen. So things were looking up, and Fox was actually getting its shit together and actually making decent movies. And I feel like this merger is just going to stall all of that. And I don't like it, because, even with the failures, I like my X-Men franchise. I don't want them to, like, reboot everything. I don't want them to suddenly cast another Deadpool, or cast another Wolverine, or cast another Jean Grey. What's, like, second time in, like, 5 years? No, I don't want that to happen. So that's one concern that I have. The other concern is just simply that having everything under one umbrella means that you can only make so many movies. And I've said this before in a different video. Basically, you can only make so many movies before you A, run out of capital, or B, just run out of space to put them in the year. Let's look at it this way. Disney has many sub-companies within the Walt Disney umbrella, right? So you have, say, Disney Animation. They make maybe 1 or 2 movies a year. I don't think they make more than that. So let's say that's 2. Let's count them. Then you have Pixar, which usually gets about 1 movie a year. That's 3, right? Then you get Star Wars, which so far has made only 1 movie a year, and as things go, I don't think they're going up from that, so that's 4. Then you have Walt Disney Pictures proper, which makes a fair amount of movies in the year, so maybe like 3 or 4, so let's say 3, so that's 7, right? And then there's Marvel, of course, which so far I think the maximum they've put out is 2 movies a year, but I think they're gearing up for 3, so that's 10 already. Do you know how many months there are in a year? There are 12. You already have 10 movies coming out. 10. Let's say you release 1 every month. You run a high risk already of competing with yourself and taking money away from yourself. I mean, we've all seen what, say, Justice League did to Thor's box office, which wasn't much in that case because Justice League didn't do well. But if Justice League had been knocking it out of the park, it would have taken a big chunk out of Thor Ragnarok's box office. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter in that case because they're different studios. You have DC and you have Marvel. So they can't release their movies 2 weeks apart, and it doesn't necessarily affect their own bottom line, right? But if you have 10 movies just in your own studio, you're going to be cannibalizing your own bottom line for at least a few of those movies. Like, most of them people are still going to see. I mean, Disney is basically the ruler of the universe at this point. People are going to see their movies no matter what. But that means that the smaller movies, like say A Wrinkle in Time next year, or I don't know, the random movie about the little kid that came out, like, was born out of a plant, or whatever the name was with Jennifer Garner. Random movies about people turning into cats or dogs or whatever it is that Disney Productions makes. It's going to they're going to bite into each other. You have a ton of Disney live action films that are coming out in the future. Those also count for that total. So you have so many movies, and you don't have enough space in the year to put them. And that's only taking into account your own movies. You know? So you have 10. Let's say you add Fox. 2018 for Fox means 3 movies are going to be released. 3 mutant movies. New Mutants, Deadpool 2, and X-Men Dark Phoenix. 3 movies in a year. So you already have 10. Now you have 13. Now you have more movies than you have months. Where do you put that last movie so that it doesn't cannibalize another one? And that's just taking into account your own movies. You still have to contend with DC, with all the other big blockbusters for studios, with Sony, which is your partner in the MCU as well. So, like, I'm not even counting any of those. You know, it's at some point there's just too much in your own slate. And what does that mean? That means you start cutting down the number of movies you produce. So, if you already have 2 to 3 movies in the MCU, you are not going to make 2 to 3 movies a year with mutants. You won't. It won't. It will be assimilated into the MCU slate, and you will have 2 to 3 movies a year total, including both mutants and Avengers. So, what does that mean for me as a mutant fan, as an X-Men fan? It means that I'm getting less movies about the characters that I love. And that's really freaking annoying to me. It shouldn't be a thing. I was getting 3 movies with Fox, now I'm not gonna get as many. And that's going to suck. I honestly don't think we're gonna get a Fantastic Four movie anytime soon either, because they will use the characters and they will assimilate the characters into the MCU, and I won't get my standalone Fantastic Four franchise. It won't happen. Or if it happens, it will take like 5 years between movies, because there's so much stuff in the MCU already. I mean, if you think about it, it's not that I don't like the MCU. I like the MCU. I like many movies. I even like the Avengers movies. I didn't think I would, because like I said before, I don't like the Avengers. I like some Avengers. But I don't like the big, Avengers movies. Or at least I thought I didn't until I saw the Avengers movies, and they were awesome. Except maybe, Ultron. That wasn't as great. It was okay, but it wasn't as great. The first Avengers movie was great. And I wasn't excited about Infinity War at all, because I thought there's going to be way too many characters in this freaking thing, and it's going to be a whole freaking mess. It's going to be insane. And then the trailer came out, and it was fucking awesome! It was an amazing trailer. Like, the MCU can do things that I never thought they would be able to do. I like the MCU. I even like the big crossover movies. I like the team-ups. I never thought I would say this, but I do. The thing with the MCU is that, and that's the cool thing, is that it's not all about Iron Man and Captain America and Thor. Yes, those are big players, but we're also now starting to get, now that time has gone on, and we're moving on to phase 4 and whatnot, we're starting to get these smaller movies about smaller characters that I never expected would actually get their own movie. Ever. Like, I never figured that they would make an Ant-Man movie, and when they did, I was freaking mind blown. Because I never thought they would. Nobody knows who Ant-Man is. Like, outside of comic book nerds. Nobody knows. And I mean, we got Doctor Strange, not that I love Doctor Strange, but nobody knew what Doctor Strange was, and the movie made like $600 $100 million worldwide. It's insane. We're getting a Captain Marvel movie. That's incredible. And that's the thing with the MCU. When the MCU is on its own, with the Avengers type characters on their own, you have more of a chance to give movies to those individual characters that people might not know, but then by doing a movie about them, people come to know them and they become popular. And then you can use them in big franchises as draws for new audiences to come in. It's fresh, you can change the genre of the movie as well. And that's great. And that's the thing that happens with the X-Men as well. So you have the mutant universe here, and anybody who's a mutant is in that pot, basically. So I can pick and choose anybody that I want. And it doesn't have to be Jean Grey, it doesn't have to be Wolverine, it doesn't have to be Scott Summers. It can be any, like, do you know how many mutants there are? There's an insane amount of mutants out there. Anybody can be a mutant. So, like, there's so many characters. These comics have been running for like 50 years already. And there's so many amazing characters that deserve a chance. And that could happen once the X-Men franchise established itself as something that draws people in just based on the franchise. So, by this point, these movies have been running since 2000. So by now we've had 17 years of X-Men movies. People know when Fox is promoting a superhero movie, it's X-Men, and that means it's probably going to be good. So there's a draw right there. Your franchise is a draw. And that means that gives Fox freedom to do things like Deadpool, to do things like a standalone Logan movie that's actually more of a Western, to do things like New Mutants with characters that nobody knows. And it's going to be great. It's going to be an amazing movie because it rides on the shoulders of the X-Men franchise. What happens when you merge the two pots? All of a sudden, you get less of a chance of seeing characters that are minor characters in each pot, because now you're so preoccupied with bringing the pots together. And I don't think that's fair, because god damn it, I wanted to see my decent Gambit movie for fuck's sake, and now I don't think I'm gonna get it. And it sucks. It's just, I'm just so stressed out by this, you guys. You have no idea. So, this is me basically saying, first, I didn't want Disney to buy out Fox. I didn't want it to happen. Now it happened. I'm screwed. I can't do anything about it by now. So my biggest hope would be that they keep the franchises apart from each other. That, you know, Marvel does its thing, and then you have a separate 20th Century Fox subdivision in Disney that just makes its own movies. And it kind of makes sense, because they're not just buying X-Men and Fantastic Four, they're buying Fox. The entire 20th Century Fox slate, which has other stuff in it, like much smaller movies, more prestige movies. I think A24 is also included in the whole deal. And of course you have stuff like Alien and The Martian and stuff like that, you know, that doesn't necessarily go into Marvel. So my hope would be that Marvel and 20th Century Fox just remain separate and do their things separate, so maybe they can make 3 movies a year and they can make 3 movies a year and I can be happy. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're definitely going to at least pluck the X-Men and Fantastic Four out of 20th Century Fox and move it to Marvel, because I guess it's more convenient for them that way. And I think I'm going to be really pissed. Why? It's not fair. I just really wanted my X-Men franchise to go on like it's been going on. It's actually been doing really well lately, Apocalypse notwithstanding, but whatever. Fix Apocalypse. Fix that one franchise. Dark Phoenix, the first few pictures from Dark Phoenix actually came out last week and they actually look pretty good. Mind you, we haven't seen any footage from this movie, and I'm still terrified that they're doing Dark Phoenix way too early in the franchise. I guess it's a good idea that they did, though, because if they had waited any longer, I would never have gotten my Dark Phoenix movie. So, I don't know. I just wish they would let Fox do their own thing. Not just for me as a consumer, for me as an X-Men fan, but also, you know, for the people who work for Fox. Because it would really suck if, like, they merge the companies and then half of them have to be laid off or something, you know, that would really suck. But honestly, it really bothers me that we're going to get less movies. I'm going to get less X-Men in my life, and that sucks. Because the more X-Men movies there were made, the more of a chance I had that they were actually good. So it bothers me. I'm sorry. I know everybody's like yelling at me right now because how can you say no to having Wolverine in an Avengers movie? Whatever. By the way, Hugh Jackman's been talking about that recently, and I'm just like, no, because he keeps talking about recasting Wolverine. And I'm like, you don't need to recast Wolverine. You have X-23 right there, and she was amazing. Ugh. Frustrates the heck out of me. Like, I've been complaining about all of this so much all over my Twitter. It's hysterical. You will see. Follow me on Twitter. It will be fun. I don't like it. I'm sorry. Anything that makes it so that I have less X-Men in my life is not a good thing for me. I'm sorry. I know that people love their MCU, and I love it too. It's a great thing. It's something I never thought was going to happen. It's kind of a marvel of the modern world. It's an amazing thing. And I haven't seen all the MCU movies, and I don't really intend to see all the MCU movies, but I think as a story, as an overarching storyline, the MCU is an amazing thing. I just don't want my X-Men to be in it. I don't. I'm sorry. I think the mutants are very well self-contained in their own universe, and I don't need them to be a part of the MCU. Now, don't get me wrong. If they do make it so that the franchises merge and Wolverine does end up fighting in the MCU, whoever that Wolverine turns out to be, I will go watch it. And I will probably love it, because that's what I am. That's what happens with me. I like things. I want to like things. So I get excited about them, and I try my best to like them. So I will probably fall in love with it, and I will have to swallow my words in the future. But as things start right now, this just really, really scares me. Oh, and before I forget, a friend of mine just pointed out something to me just this morning. He pointed out that now that Fox is also going to be part of Disney, that means that Fox is also going to be part of Disney's new streaming service, which, again, I never liked. I have also ranted about this in a video before. I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, please go check it out. I don't want more streaming services. I want people to just make a deal with Netflix so I don't have to pay for an entire new streaming service all over again. And it's going to hurt like hell, but like I said, the movies that I love, I own on DVD. I don't need to see Disney movies in a streaming service. I don't need to see Star Wars movies in a streaming service. I'm not going to need to see X-Men movies in a streaming service. What this is going to do, though, and it's very similar than it will happen with Star Wars, I'm sure. What this is going to do is that they're going to have all the X-Men properties, all the X-Men TV series like Legion and The Gifted and everything that's on Fox and FX that's an X-Men property. They're going to have it on their streaming service. And I'm going to hate them for life for it, because they're going to make me pay for it, and it's going to suck. I don't have that kind of money, Disney. I'm sorry. And not only that, I remember when I did my last video about this streaming service, I speculated that it was going to be more expensive than Netflix. After I did that video, Disney came out with some sort of news, like through some outlet, like Deadline or Variety, or I don't know what it was. They came out and said, no, it's going to be actually cheaper than Netflix, and it's going to be very affordable. You know what? That's gone down the drain, because now you're going to add all the Fox properties into it, and there's no way it's going to be that cheap. It's just, it's not. You're going to have all the Fox catalog of movies. All of it, not just the superhero stuff. All of the Fox movies. There's no way that's going to be cheaper than Netflix. I'm sorry, it's not. And also, does that mean that the Fox movies are now pulled out of Netflix? Great. Fantastic. freaking-tastic. It's just, I'm so frustrated right now. I'm sorry. I know that I'm probably bringing everybody down, and I hate when I do this. I hate it because I'm glad that people are happy about this merger. I'm glad that people are happy that they will get to see the X-Men and the Avengers in the same movie. I'm happy for you. I really am. I'm just terrified that I will get less movies in my life. And I'm also terrified that I will have to pay for 2 subscription services in order to get my full content of movies. That is not fair. I don't think it's a good consumer experience. I'm not made of money, Disney. I can't afford it, so it's going to have to go the HBO way, where I pay for 1 month, binge watch through the whole thing, and then unsubscribe. Because I cannot afford to subscribe to a whole new streaming service and still pay for Netflix, which is still giving me better content at the moment. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like this merger. I don't like it. Sorry. I'm throwing a tantrum. I'm aware. I can't. I don't like it. Okay. Take a deep breath. Let's try to be positive about this. Maybe they will do things in a way that won't disrupt my life too much. Hopefully. Oh, my head hurts now. I don't know. I guess I just needed to get that out of my system, guys. Please do convince me in the comments that this is actually a good thing. You're welcome to try. Please don't insult me, though. I will most likely just ignore any flames at this moment because my feelings are valid, guys. I'm just scared. I do this out of love, okay? I love the MCU and I love the X-Men movies and I think they're doing great so far and I don't want them to mess with the winning formula. So, I swear to God, I do this out of love. I have nothing against Disney, I have nothing against Marvel, I have nothing against Fox. I'm scared of change at the moment. So, maybe when they give out more information about what the merger actually entails, I will feel slightly better about this. Who knows? I mean, at this point, the merger is still subject to antitrust laws, so they have to approve the buyout. So it might not even actually happen. Who knows? I'm crossing my fingers. But, like, I feel very scared about this right now. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Granted, one positive thing, and if I have to look at the silver lining, I guess there is some positive here. This now means that the X-Men are no longer under the control of Murdoch and his cronies, which I find to be a great thing because I honestly don't want those people getting anywhere near my X-Men movies. And I know that 20th Century Fox didn't have as much input from like Murdoch and company as the TV stations do, like Fox News, etc. But still, if they can be as far away from Murdoch as possible, I'm glad. So like anybody buying Fox from under Murdoch is good with me. But I wish it wasn't requiring a merger with the MCU in order for that to happen. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I just love the X-Men so much. I love the MCU so much, and I think it's been working out so well so far. And I think it would work well even without these characters. Like, even if Spider-Man had never been a thing, the MCU would still be great. So it is what it is. I'm gonna have to learn how to deal with it, I guess, but I can't afford that many streaming services, and I hate that we're going to get less movies. That's kind of the bottom line for me. I don't know, if you guys want to go into the comments and try to make me feel better about this, I would appreciate it. Just, you know, keep it civil. Don't insult me just because I don't like something that you're excited about. Please just understand that this is coming from a place of love, and because I love it, I'm protective of it. So I guess we'll see what happens. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, if the first Marvel/Fox movie comes out and it looks amazing, I will probably jump in the bandwagon too. I have no shame in admitting that, because I like to give these things a chance. So I guess we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed that it's not a complete mess and it actually yields a good result for us fans and for us consumers of movies and TV. So I guess we'll see. I will try not to cry too hard until then. So yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. And while you're at it, if you have any ideas for any topics that you'd like me to talk about in the future, be sure to drop it in a comment. And if it's anything that I have any knowledge about, if it's anything that I know anything about, I will make sure to add it to my list of videos to make in the future, so be tuned for that. This is my last video for the year, my last official video for the year, at least in the Talks from Freaking Narnia series. So you probably won't see another official video from me until like mid-January, just because of the holidays, and then I have to apply to PhD programs and stuff, so it's gonna take me a while, but maybe mid-January, so stay tuned for that. I will, however, be watching The Last Jedi this Saturday with my family, so I will definitely be posting a review of that. It's going to be under the Extras from Freaking Narnia playlist, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I don't know when it's gonna happen though, so don't quote me on Friday. I don't know exactly when I'm gonna have it ready to go, so but you know, stay tuned. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you like my stuff, please subscribe to my channel. I love to see people liking and sharing and commenting and subscribing. It makes my day, and so please keep doing that. In the meantime, you can find me on social media. I am on Twitter and Instagram at girlsoweird with underscores between the words, and I am on Tumblr at girlsoweird with hyphens between the words. You can find a Facebook page for this blog at facebook.com/FreakingNarnia. And as usual, you can visit my main page at FreakingNarnia.com. All my videos are up there in case you missed any and want to catch up. Just go over there, everything is posted in there. Also remember that I have a Redbubble store where I make art based on my favorite quotes from my favorite fandoms, and then you can use that art to print on different merchandise such as t-shirts, coffee cups, computer covers, bags, all sorts of cool stuff in there. I've been adding Stranger Things 2 quotes, so be sure to check those out and maybe purchase something if you're in the mood. It really does help me a lot. And that's it for me today. I will try to not hyperventilate myself to death with this whole Disney Fox thing, and I'll be back sometime next week with a Last Jedi review, so I'll see you guys then. Bye. My position against the MCU is I can't wait for Asma. Because of the R-rated, it's more it won't, I don't think it won't happen, but and then there's Avengers, including both Mutant and Avengers. I mean, we got Shazam, not that I